The USDA Forest Service Southern Research Station, producing science you can use.
Hello, my name is Chris Oswald and I'm a research scientist with the Forest Service Southern Research Station, and my responsibilities with the Forest Inventory Analysis Program are lead analyst for Kentucky, lead analyst for the state of Tennessee, and I'm involved in a lot of non-native invasive plant research and with the urban forestry pilot study that we just conducted in Tennessee. Well, this assessment, kind of the first of its kind in the state of Tennessee, we found that the Tennessee urban forest resource is significantly important both from an environmental and an economic standpoint. From an economic standpoint, to the tune of around $80 billion. In addition to that, of course, there is economic value that is being added every single year. The report also points toward the value of collaboration across multiple units in the Forest Service research community. We had scientists from the Northern Research Station, the Southern Research Station, Northeastern Area Private or State and Private Forestry, in addition to our cooperation with our state agencies here in Tennessee, working with the Tennessee Division of Forestry. They're the ones that actually collected the vast majority of the data in Tennessee. I think one of the primary or most significant results out of this report is the tremendous amount of cost savings that our citizens enjoy from shading of homes, shading of businesses, and shading of industrial areas that trees provide. That shading allows for a tremendous amount of energy savings and therefore cost savings to the citizens of the state. One of the most interesting pieces that came out of this research was the fact that Chinese privet was one of the most frequently found trees across the entire state. It's really surprising in the fact that Chinese privet is a non-native invasive plant from Asia. However, it really is dependent upon where you look in the urban forest setting as to whether or not Chinese privet is the most frequently found. And what I mean by this is the fact that if you look at just residential areas, mostly neighborhoods and the like, you'll find that flowering dogwood, Virginia pine, eastern redbud are really important in terms of we're seeing those frequently. You look at areas like abandoned industrial areas or power line right-of-ways, and you get a different suite of species that are more common. And those are areas that you might find Chinese privet being one of the more common species. You look even further and look at just maintained areas, or what we call maintained areas, which might be your yard, your front or backyard, or more formally landscaped areas. You see that flowering dogwood is the most frequently found species or tree species in the state of Tennessee. And I think this is a fact that would make organizers of the Dogwood Arts Festivals in East Tennessee very happy that that's still one of the most frequently found species in the state, even after all of the declines that we're finding as a result of dogwood anthracnose and many other things across the state. Anytime that you assess a particular forest resource, it's very important to look at the forest health threats that resource faces. And just like any other forest resource, the urban forest resource here in Tennessee faces numerous threats. Black walnut is a species that's very important economically and ecologically, and that species faces a recent threat of the thousand cankers disease, or thousand cankers disease complex that has begun to kill a lot of black walnuts in and around the Knoxville area. There is the emerald ash borer that has recently been found in southern Ohio, which threatens numerous hardwood species. There's the hemlock woolly adelgid that attacks hemlocks in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. There is the emerald ash borer that was recently discovered in Knox County that threatens ash species. So you have a lot of pests that are threatening the urban forest resource, in addition to all of the non-native invasive plants that threaten the forest resource as well. We're seeing a lot of non-native invasive plants become more predominant in our urban forests, and that's something that we need to pay particular attention to and continue to monitor over time. The most significant aspect of finding so much Chinese tallow in our urban forest setting is, one, the fact that it's non-native to the area. It's native to southeastern Asia, and the fact that we're finding it so frequently speaks to a couple of different things. One is that a lot of urban forests are not managed per se. There's a lot of hands-off approaches to many of our urban forests, and particularly in rights-of-way or in parks that don't have large budgets. You end up with a lot of non-native invasive plants occupying a large portion of the urban forest. It's not very surprising, seeing as that one of the major pathways for increasing the distribution of non-native invasive plants is travel corridors, and you see that in an urban setting the density of travel corridors of course is going to be higher and higher, and this facilitates the spread of non-native invasive plants. The good thing about this, or the one thing that managers can use this report for, is to promote management of some of these urban forest settings, so we can turn a state resource that's worth approximately $80 billion into a resource that's worth a whole lot more. In addition, land managers or urban foresters, including community leaders, can use this report to demonstrate how valuable these forests are, in order that we take really good care of these resources as time moves forward.